Andrea Heuston here. I'm the host of the Lead Like a Woman show, where I feature strong, amazing, and brilliant female leaders and how they're changing our world for the better. We have over 40,000 people on social media who are sharing our message of empowering female leaders to empower others. And keep sharing. Follow the show right now as you listen and share it with a friend. And if you're so inclined, we would love a 5-star review on Apple. Head on over there now. In this episode, we're going to talk about the power of inclusivity. But first, before we get to that, this episode is brought to you by Lead Like a Woman. There's a surprise. We've created an offer just for you. Get 1 hour of speaker coaching for just $350. That's 50% off. Head on over to leadlikeawoman.biz and click on the button that says Coach Me for details. And the best way to find me, type hashtag LeadLikeAWoman into your search bar. And it's kind of crazy, but I come up. Or as always, I'm all over LinkedIn. And it's Andrea Heuston, but Heuston is spelled weird. It's been 30 years this year, but I still have to spell it. It's Heuston. All right, today I have the honor of introducing my guest, Jennifer Brown. Jennifer is an award-winning entrepreneur, speaker, author, and diversity and inclusion expert who is deeply passionate about building more inclusive workplaces where more of us can feel welcomed, valued, respected, and heard. As the founder and CEO of Jennifer Brown Consulting, a certified woman and LGBT-owned firm, Jennifer and her team design and execute inclusion strategies that have been implemented by some of the biggest companies and nonprofits in the world. Stay tuned, there's more news on that. Jennifer's the best-selling author of 4 books on diversity and inclusion topics. She's a sought-after keynote speaker, a thought leader on creating cultures of belonging, inclusive leadership, change, and the future of work. Jennifer's podcast, The Will to Change, go follow that one too right now, is downloaded by nearly 15,000 listeners per month. And she lives in New York with her partner of 25 years, Michelle. Congrats on that. 25 years is quite the achievement. Jennifer, welcome to the Lead Like a Woman show.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm happy to have you here too. This is going to be a fun conversation.
Yes.
You know, you started in corporate leadership training, and I saw like Tommy Hilfiger on your list and some other ones as well. But you quickly moved into running your own consultancy. Mm-hmm. What in the world led you down that path of entrepreneurship?
The unlikely entrepreneur, right? The one that gets restructured.
That's right. I've heard that story before.
You know.
Oh yeah.
But I think I was miserably unhappy in-house. I just was so miserable. And it was such a gift, as so many things in life are that you think are not.
It's true.
You know it. So I got laid off. And the moment I was the head of a training and development function in, the fashion company that you just talked about. Yeah. And I was hating being an administrative head. And I just wanted to get into the classroom again and be a trainer. Oh, yeah. You know, I wanted to shed all of that administrivia and just be directly working with people. And that was my happy place.
Administrivia?
Yes.
Because I now have a coined term that I love. All right. I'm going to borrow that. Let me just say. Keep going.
Steal away. Administrivia. Yes.
That's a good word.
It is. It was just so, running budgets and overseeing, managing people versus like directly performing the service or the work. Yeah. I got really clear. And it's funny because I was pitched by vendors all the time as a director of training that wanted to have us as a contract. And when I got laid off, those are the first people I called. And I said,
nice.
Do you have room for a trainer? And they said, funny, when we met you and we were pitching you, we really thought you would be a great addition to the team as one of our delivery people.
Love it. I love that. Good cool. For you for going after that kind of work. But, some of us need to be in our genius zone. And that genius zone does not include administrivia.
Well, yes. True. And I will add, I was an opera singer before any of this. So my genius.
What?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I missed that. That's so cool. I might make you sing. I want to do that.
Yes. And so that's what I spent my late 20s, early 30s pursuing in New York. And so the stage has been my second home for most of my life, even as a small child. And so also the zone of genius, when you think about it, is that place that you just are so comfortable that a lot of other people aren't. And I think when I said, hey, put me into the classroom, it was as a facilitator. And that is, to this day, it's still kind of what I do. I use my voice, just not as a singer, as I like to say.
Well, that is kind of that definition of the Japanese term of ikigai, which is it blends two words. It's a reason to live is what it means.
Yeah,
and that. It's what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. So that's your genius zone, that ikigai. And I love that you found that, but you were able to take your love and comfortability on the stage and repurpose it.
I mean, and it's like, you never, there's nothing wasted in your experience, right? And I would say this to whoever's listening to this, at some point, that skill, that fearlessness, that resilience, that ability to improvise, all that stuff that I honed through audition after audition after audition, and sort of pressured situations, and just the diligence and the discipline of mounting a show and, doing it well. All of that I draw on, and it's made me so much of a different business leader, I think.
But that's good. I mean, that's good. You've been able to find your passion and really, really work it into something that you can do and earn money for. So that brings me to a question. When you started your consultancy, what went right?
Well, let's see. I think I was such a natural in front of groups that quickly I was able to fill my calendar as a subcontractor, which is what we call delivery people who just deliver, and they don't want to sell the work. They just want to deliver the work. And I quickly became, really busy, and I could say yes and no to things depending on my schedule. And I got a day rate, and it felt so kind of neat and tidy. And I didn't have to be the one that was pitching the work, selling the work, billing for the work, no administrivia. Again, can you tell I hate process?
Oh yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Somebody has to love it, but not me.
Not my strong suit. So that went well. And I felt like I died and got to heaven, honestly, because I loved the fact that every classroom, every company, every topic, because I also taught maybe 25 different courses.
Wow.
In like the whole leadership development catalog. Like I literally, and I would learn the program. Honestly, I was pretty junior, but what I could do was utilize, what good facilitators do, which is like utilize the knowledge in the room and kind of connect the dots and follow a lesson plan and, do the activities. And it was just it was so fun for an extrovert. It was like a perfect role for somebody who wants to learn, who maybe hasn't done the skill in question necessarily, but is sort of at the same time leading the group, but also doing my own learning. And I got like 10 MBAs and all of those classroom hours. My feet killed me, but it was
oh my gosh. Of course you did. Do you know, I got to share my secret. When I speak now, when I facilitate, when I MC, when I do any of that, I'm in sneakers. Thank you very much. There's no heels on my feet. Forget it.
The pandemic did that too. We were like,
it's
true. What? No, not anymore.
I'm going to be comfortable. Thank you very much. Now I have really fun sneakers. But,
oh, that's cute.
And Nike is a client, so it goes a long way.
Oh, that works well.
I have lots of really good sneakers, but I'm not wearing heels anymore. Forget it.
I know. Me neither.
Not worth it.
Nope.
So you have change on your horizon, or that's happening right now. And we chatted a little bit about it, but you started your consultancy years ago and you've been doing it for a long time, but now your company has been acquired, right? So tell us a little bit about the merger with Changeforce and Matheson.
Yes. Boy, it's been a year or so in the making. And I have learned so much about M&A and not necessarily like something I wanted to know a lot about. However, I think we don't actually, and I will say we as sort of underrepresented founders, this means female, LGBTQ plus, which I also identify as, and so many others, Black and brown founders. We are under-mentored, we're under-sponsored, we're outside of learning how do we build a company to exit it? Like, what does that even mean? So I had never started this company 20 years ago to exit. All I knew was that it was the ikigai. It was like literally like, my name's on the door. My purpose is encapsulated in this company. I am doing what I feel called to do. I'm of service. I'm good at what I do. It was just all was sort of aligned. I think, after 20 years, you're like, I wonder, like, is this it? Like,
what's next?
Yeah. And plus, I was going to say, my space, which is the DEI space, I mean, you probably would have to be living under a rock if you don't know what I'm talking about, but it has been under duress.
It is under duress, yeah.
It's having a really hard time. So the George Floyd murder in 2020, and then the subsequent kind of, I would say, the boom and the bust in the work, which is really sad and heartbreaking for a lot of us who've been in it a long time. The boom was fabulous and amazing, and we felt so prioritized. I mean, honestly, it was like first time. and then everybody sort of not lost interest, but I just the noise of it and the intensity of it, it can't last forever. And there's always,
you're right.
For every action, there's a reaction. And this reaction, though, is really vicious. It's extremely organized, extremely well-funded, and it's coming after university presidents, companies. Obviously, you've read about it. So it's hurting a lot of us that make our living serving mainly corporate clients, because as the corporate clients are spooked, it's not good for budgets. It's not good for having, bold visions for the work. And it's really discouraging. So I think the time was good for me to transition and find a partner that had a much more extensive product suite, and also was more in the organizational effectiveness, people and ops, like the stuff, the other functions that D&I should be embedded in and should be connected into, so that it can have that longevity. When you're an island, you can get cut off, you can get minimized and isolated.
So true.
Dangerous to be out there. So this is a good place to have landed, and I feel really excited about it.
That is exciting. So before we started, and you just alluded to it, we talked about the D&I winter and what's been going on there, and you said it's very well funded and very well organized. Can you go a little deeper into that?
Yeah. Well, it's all related to it. This is not new. It's just been accelerating. Yeah, it's been accelerating.
It's louder too.
Yeah, louder and more funded, more bold and audacious, more supported from the top, sadly, and kind of like the political situation. And with the election coming, it's just going to intensify, I think. It means is, well, really the affirmative action decision last summer on the part of the Supreme Court, banning affirmative action really chilled like a lot of actually similar efforts on the part of companies to, I would say, level the playing field.
Right.
Get the representation that actually looks like the world, which they need to do, and that hasn't changed. But it leveled it sort of eviscerated that, and then made it kind of quasi illegal for companies to set goals to say, oh, we're going to achieve X number of women representation by this date.
Right.
Or we have these ongoing initiatives that are developing, non-majority talent up that pipeline.
Right.
So anywhere that you talked about particular programs that lifted up certain communities and supported them in such a way, in a differential way, to get to that C-suite, those have become not okay. And companies are like, well, now what do we do? Because that was the way we understood, and we all have understood that was the only way to change the problem of representation. I don't know any other ways. So everyone has been renaming their initiatives. They've been stopping their initiatives and pausing them. They've been hiding them. They've been making them open to all, because that's one of the ways companies can get around it. And that's fine. It's more that I think identities that have been marginalized need differential investment, because they've traditionally have been outside of the norms, the power structures, the mentorship, all of the unwritten, unspoken, unofficial rules, and the way things really work. So these programs were always designed, I think, to make that extra investment so that we could raise that up. And I don't know a way around that. We all are sitting here kind of wondering, how far are they going to go, the opposition? Are they going to chill this to such an extent that like no programs can exist anymore? We don't know. I
feel like we're going backwards.
Yes.
I've said that a few times based on the political climate, but it feels like we're back in the 50s or 60s sometimes, where women and minorities don't have rights, which is, I'm going to swear, audience, fucking ridiculous. It just really is. It's just ridiculous.
It is.
So I am a certified women-owned business, just like you are. You are an LGBT. Yeah, you have an LGBTQ plus certified business as well. I have a lot of other friends who are minority-owned businesses because I really do work to be in those circles. Because I think, you gain more knowledge from people who don't have the same shared experience as you.
That's right. That's right.
And so by losing that, I'm going to use a term, we're whitewashing the world again. It's horrifying.
I know. So we have to just see, MLK Jr., the arc of the moral universe is long. It bends towards justice.
Yes, it's true.
The bending is hard right now. And I think a lot of us, we need a lot of allyship, honestly, to lend allies to push their shoulder to the wheel, as we say, and really add strength in numbers. And, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, DEI, whatever, or, I'm a good person and I do enough. And I would say, remember how tired and fatigued so many people are around you that have been lifting up the conversation, have been kind of putting themselves on the line and say, how am I more proactively having the hard conversations, challenging my institution to do more, challenging myself to be a more inclusive leader. All those things really, really matter now more than ever.
Absolutely. I agree. So interesting. Well, to that end, you have the Will to Change podcast, which I think it's a fabulous podcast to have. And one of the things you say about the podcast is that it's hard for all of us because we're living in a VUCA world. And you define VUCA as, I'm going to let you say it.
And it's not even my acronym. I think I stole it from the military.
I love it.
It is volatile, uncertain, chaotic, and ambiguous.
And our world is that way, isn't it?
Yeah. And leading in that world is all of those things. And I think it can make leaders of certain generations at least feel, wow, nothing is working that I've always counted on, that has always worked for me. It doesn't resonate anymore. I don't know how to speak to people across difference. I don't know my own biases. I don't know how to get out of my own way. So a lot of my work with, honestly, white male leadership teams is acknowledging the chaos, acknowledging the fact that you're like, oh my goodness, I don't even know how to show up at this moment anymore.
Right.
Yeah, that's
well. And one of the things you say is we've been shown that the workplace, like so many of our other systems, was never built by and for so many of us on the margins. So this has caused widespread trauma and loss of human potential.
Yeah.
So with your thoughts on workplace culture, on belonging, who builds them, what success looks like, and what's getting in the way, you're doing that through your podcast. You are helping people first see the problem, but second, create action around it.
Right.
It's beautiful. Will you continue your podcast?
Thank you. I hope so.
Me too.
I learned so much from it. I have people on there of different identities that I, even in the work for 20 years, I have not explored yet.
Wow.
And the ones that I'm just learning about, incredible humans who are out there educating, speaking. But I'm a learner. And so as I interview people, I just let my curiosity guide me. And I always have my audience in mind I think in the field I'm in, I'm viewed as kind of, I'd say there are people who are like teacher thought leaders in fields, right? They're people who people look to say, oh, I want to be that and do that someday.
Right.
So I'm always thinking about how am I equipping the next generation of practitioner to do what I do it differently, do it better, start, take advantage of my many years, but also, it's humbling and sobering the older you get to realize how little you know. And how
that
much
is so true. That is so true. Yeah. I have kids who are almost 24 days away from the age of 23, and one who is 19, and they think they know more than anybody because at that age you believe you do.
And we do. They do. They know more about themselves. They're more in touch with how to identify. They're the ones that are
absolutely
shaking up the corporate world big time.
They are. And I think it's good. We need that shakeup.
Yes,
absolutely. All right. So you have 4 books. You're a 4-time best-selling author. Congratulations. That's an amazing achievement.
Thank you.
So your first book in 2017 was Inclusion, Diversity, the New Workplace, and the Will to Change. What a beautiful title. But then you wrote How to Be an Inclusive Leader, your role in creating cultures of belonging where everyone can thrive in 2019. And then you released volume 2 with 50% new content in October of 2022. I'm really amazed. And then you co-authored a book called Beyond Diversity, 12 non-obvious ways to build a more inclusive world. Just an incredible body of work. I mean, you're an expert in your field, but incredible body of work. So I'd love you to share with us, what is one of those non-obvious ways that we can build a more inclusive world?
Yeah, I think a non-obvious way might be the emotional journey that learners go through. The fear, the resistance, the hesitation that I think so many people feel when they learn about this topic. And they just assume, I'm not diverse, which means nothing because each one of us knows something about diversity. May not be obvious. And then we need every example, every story and identity. We need to see, somebody needs to see you. Like somebody needs to see the thing that is hidden about you that might be one of your diversity dimensions that really has been difficult for you, or something that you do not readily share, but is such an important part of your life. I mean, that's the kind of hidden stuff that truly changes organizations if you are courageous enough to, we use the iceberg model, right? To lower that waterline to say, here's more of me. Here's who I really am. Here's, all of, the ways I was raised and what I grew up with and my religion and my faith. And all these details that I think are invisible, including LGBTQ is often invisible. But when we have the courage to share that, it changes paradigms. And
it does.
That's why I called the podcast The Will to Change, because it's like, where does will come from? Like what?
Oh, you're right.
Skill is one thing, but will is the want. It's the desire. It's the awakening. I'm invested in this. I'm committed to it.
Yes.
It's going to be maybe rough. It's going to be unpredictable. It's VUCA. It's going to be like really winding, really at times discouraging, really at times.
Absolutely.
Amazing, but like, what a beautiful journey. So
it is.
That's what I'd like people to hear.
Well, that book, Beyond Diversity, 12 Non-Obvious Ways to Build a More Inclusive World, was announced as a Wall Street Journal bestseller. And it was also listed in Inc.'s 22 books to read or reread in 2022. Incredible accomplishment. Now, your own latest book, is How to Be an Inclusive Leader, the second edition. So your role in creating cultures of belonging where everyone can thrive. Tell us a little bit about why we need to read that book.
Well, I titled it in a very intentional way.
Yes, you did.
Simple. Yep. I wanted to make it simple because I'm always asked over and over again, give me the checklist of things to do. We get that question. And you're like, why do I have to spoon feed you? But anyway.
No. What's your role in creating cultures of belonging?
That's the thing. It's not my role.
It's your role.
Your role. So I wrote it for leaders. I wrote it for, bless their hearts, my generation. I wrote it for people who've been kind of in the insider, like been normed, and people who, for whom the workplace was built and for whom it works really well. And it feels relatively like a more seamless experience. And it's really a call to action to step into the arena. And it lays out a 4-part model where, it acknowledges, I think it's very important never to shame people who are trying and who are learning. I don't believe in it. So there's a lot we don't know because of how we grew up, because of who we haven't been exposed to. All of that is, I think, normal.
It is, yeah.
But good leaders sort of chart a path, right? They leave the safety of the harbor and they set sail. Yep. And they set sail into the unknown. They have no idea what's out there, but they're like, you know what? I need to be evolving as the world around me evolves. And the book is literally a roadmap for that evolution. And it's such an invitation to leaders to not become obsolete. I mean, I don't think the people that push back on DEI understand the magnitude of the change that's happening. And when you push back
huge,
on this, you're pushing back on yourself, your potential, your own skills and abilities, and your own, honestly, your own transformation. It's such I wish people, and right now it's getting completely, the brand of it is getting damaged and, redefined and in really negative ways. And honestly,
sad.
So sad. The work is about love. It's about kindness. It's about grace. It's about,
being a good human. It's about being a good human.
It's such a beautiful message. So it's just this weird upside down world right now that anybody could say that this is divisive. It's unless some people teach it in a divisive way, which is kind of a different aspect.
That's also sad.
Yeah. And that doesn't need to be taught that way. And I think you'll actually get further if you teach it in the way that I've described.
I love that. Well, everybody go grab that book. And I want to say one thing about it. It's called How to Be an Inclusive Leader. Everyone is a leader. That you are a leader in your own life. So it's really important to honor that role of creating cultures of belonging where everyone can thrive. So go grab that book. So Jennifer, we talked a little bit before we started about who you are and some, you've had advantages and privileges, but also the sting of stigma. So you have mentioned that you're LGBTQ, that you have a partner of 25 years, Michelle.
Yeah.
Would you tell a little of your own story for us?
Sure. So I came out in my early 20s, but I was at that time in the nonprofit world, but I was also singing and performing, and I was very closeted as a performer because I was trying to be cast as the lead love interest. And they were not enlightened times, even though it was music theater and all that. So
no, I think we were born the same year, so I understand.
Oh, no way. So it was just not something. And I saw no role models. I mean, I saw nobody. And so I assumed, because when you don't see anything, you make it up in your head.
Yes, you do.
That's the problem. So I was like, well, I'm never going to, I guess eventually someone's going to find out about me, sort of thing. And anyway, and then I ended up losing my voice anyway, which is why I got out of performance.
Oh my gosh.
I injured my voice and I had surgery several times. So that kind of made the decision for me and closed the door. And it closed it, which was such a gift because I needed to get out. I needed to go live a more full life. I very much
authentic.
I very much miss music, and it's kind of it's like an unfinished chapter for me. But anyway, I love what I do now, and I'm so grateful that the work found me. I'm just really grateful. But the other thing, then I came out at those years. So I was not out as a performer, only to friends, and then not out in the corporate when I made this switch. And I had to sort of come out in all these different corporate environments when I was a training development person. So insurance and fashion and, and that was not fun. I mean, we say in the community, coming out is like a daily, it never ends. Like you have to keep doing it, especially somebody that, like those of you who are listening that are not looking at me, I present in a way that I don't think prompts people to think that I'm in the community. So for me to, and I have to do this on stages now too, in front of like huge audiences. So I come out over and over and over again. And it's really, really important to me because a minute of discomfort for me is nothing like the discomfort that so many feel. And I just know how important it is. And I don't, let my discomfort be an excuse. And I'm pleasantly surprised. The amazing, incredible thing is that you think things are going to go so badly, but so often people are so happy to be entrusted with your truth. Right. You are expanding their mind by them knowing you and knowing more about you. And
it's
you
true.
You are teaching. I mean, you are the teacher, and not just what you know between your ears, but like who you are is part of your wisdom. So anybody listening to this, you are enough. But the challenge is that, using all of the things of who you are and what you know, that's when you really reach this like radical alignment that feels incredible.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. You're literally working from your deepest truth, and it feels really aligned. It feels very natural. It doesn't feel like work because it just flows. It's a flow state, I think.
Radical alignment. I think that's something important for everyone to have. And by sharing who you are, like you said, it changes people's perspective. And I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's exhausting not to. So I was exhausted, being closeted. And now I teach about this concept called covering in my keynotes. And I poll the audience and I say, where are you minimizing an identity? So maybe you can see that I'm female and I'm cisgender. So my pronouns are she, her, but maybe you're, well, Jennifer's female, but like I can cover my gender because I don't need to, be the squeaky wheel that says, hey, where are the women on this slate? Why are there not more women? Like, why don't we provide this? Why here's who I am, like, and sort of highlighting this stigmatized identity is something that we get penalized for.
Like, we do. Absolutely do.
Yeah. So that has to change. Yeah.
I agree. And I appreciate that you're willing to share that too. So thank you.
Sure.
I know you've had mentors and people who've really helped you along your way. And now you're a coach as well. So you help others. Yeah. But what do you believe is the most impactful piece of advice you've ever been given that still really sticks with you to this day?
Every time, you probably know this too, as an author, it's like you write the book and then you get cold feet and you want to pull it back and you don't want to put it out. And you're like, oh, it's going to be irrelevant. It's repetitive. Nobody cares, whatever. Right. We go through all that imposter syndrome crap.
Yes,
what I would say what I always say is like your story matters. Like it does. The way you tell it, the body you tell it from, the life you've lived, the way you sort of connect the dots for someone is going to be very unique. And that's how we change the world. It's what people remember. They remember the story. So
it's true.
I tell people, like, don't kill that little seedling before it has a chance to be nurtured and grow into what it could be. And that could be a business idea. It could be an impact you want to make in the world. It could be you on the stage as a speaker telling a story you've never told before that feels really important to be told.
Right.
But we judge it, we minimize it, we maybe avoid it. Maybe it's difficult and painful, right? I mean, all of that can be true. But I almost didn't tell the story about losing my voice on the TEDx stage. I was worried I would cry and not get through my talk. Right. But I was also like, who cares? Like what? I've had such a charmed life. Like, look at the things that I've been able to do.
Right.
But then what I discovered is it was so important for me to heal, actually, and telling my story. Right. And then the audience is like, this metaphor of the voice, like, you're making me think about, am I using what I've been given? Am I giving voice to what needs to be voiced?
Beautiful.
That's what I wanted them to think about. And so it started with like a literal story about me, and it turned into this idea that I'm very known for now, which is a beautiful kind of return to my early days and my artist self. So I love that.
I love that you connected those dots.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I remember I had to, because you're a speaker coach. I had my first TEDx and they were like, okay, you've got 10 minutes. And that is the hardest 10 minutes to prepare for in your life. And that's when
and they want you to memorize it too.
Yes, I know. It's horrible.
And so when I coach speakers, I never have them memorize content unless I'm doing a TED, unless I'm coaching a TED speaker. So
Totally.
Wow. Well, this has been so fun, Jennifer. I believe that every woman on earth has a superpower, and I know you do. Absolutely. So Jennifer, what is your superpower?
I think I'm probably a friendly messenger.
Oh, I kind of like that. We've never had that superpower before.
Yeah. I put people at ease. I make difficult topics digestible, attractive. I'm a woo on the Strengths Finder, so this probably shouldn't surprise anybody upon hearing that.
I love that.
I think that's what I'm probably here to do. And I love the challenge of it. It's such a brain twister to take my topic and communicate it all over the world to different cultures, to different religions and spirituality. I mean, it is like a real twister to try to figure out.
It is.
Like, how am I going to get through to people, especially in a short keynote, which is often the format that I'm working in. So I think it's that whole kind of vibe that I bring that opens people up and that encourages them to be vulnerable with me. And then we go on a journey together.
I love that. You're a friendly messenger. I think that's a great superpower to have. So, we've had a fabulous conversation today with Jennifer Brown. Jennifer, you are a speaker, an author, CEO. Where can we find you?
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Jennifer Brown Consulting, I think is where I live at the moment.
Okay.
At Jennifer Brown Speaks is Instagram. My podcast is The Will to Change. We already talked about my books. You can find them all on Amazon.
Love
and what did I not talk about? I think that's all the socials.
And we will put those links in the show notes. And if you want everything in one place, Jennifer has a website called jenniferbrownspeaks.com.
Yes.
So go find her there and buy her books. And listeners, I want you to remember we all have superpowers. Jennifer has superpowers. She's the friendly messenger. I have superpowers, and listeners, you have superpowers as well. Please use them for good. And thank you for listening today to the Lead Like a Woman show, where we are passionate about empowering female leaders to empower others. And I want you to go out there today and give it a voice. Thanks for listening.